They were not building monuments. They were building leverage. Every road, every wall, every arch was a decision about power. Because in ancient civilizations, construction was never neutral. It was strategy in stone. They were not building monuments. They were building leverage. In ancient civilizations, construction was never neutral. No empire moved stone at scale simply to impress future generations. When labor was manual, materials were scarce, and transportation was slow, every decision to build required justification. That justification was rarely aesthetic. It was strategic. When Rome built a road, it was not connecting cities for convenience. It was compressing distance between legions. It was reducing response time to rebellion. It was allowing taxation to move faster than resistance. A road is not a line of stone. It is a decision about speed. When aqueducts were raised across valleys and mountains, they were not displays of engineering ambition. They were instruments of demographic stability. Water determines population. Population determines workforce. Workforce determines expansion. What appears to be hydraulic innovation is, in reality, political architecture. Ancient leaders understood something modern societies often forget. Infrastructure shapes behavior. The environment you build determines the choices people can make. If you build roads, people trade. If you build ports, people expand. If you build walls, people submit. Construction narrows possibilities and amplifies others. This is where engineering becomes strategy. Monumental scale was not just structural. It was psychological. A wall towering overhead does more than block an enemy. Communicates inevitability. A cathedral rising vertically does more than host ritual. It redirects the human gaze upward, reinforcing hierarchy and divine order. Scale restructures perception, and perception restructures obedience. Large structures create continuity beyond a single lifetime. Workers knew they would not see completion. Yet the system ensured the project continued. This was not faith in the future. It was institutional design. The structure itself became a stabilizing mechanism. It trained generations to maintain it. Strategy is not about winning today. It is about shaping tomorrow's constraints. When a civilization builds with foresight, it is not solving immediate problems. It is locking future behavior into predetermined paths. Roads determine where cities grow. Irrigation determines where populations settle. Fortifications determine where borders harden. Once built, these decisions become difficult to reverse. That is the real power of ancient construction. It did not rely on charisma. It relied on permanence. Individuals changed. Rulers died. Dynasties collapsed. But the infrastructure remained. And as long as it remained, the logic behind it remained active. Systems survive because they embed themselves in stone, water, and geography. When construction becomes strategy, architecture becomes policy. Stone becomes governance. Water becomes expansion. Scale becomes authority. Civilizations that understood this did not merely build structures. They built influence that would operate long after their names faded. That is why some ancient systems still shape trade routes, city layouts, and cultural memory today. Not because they were beautiful, not because they were mysterious, but because they were strategic. They built more than monuments. They built conditions, and conditions once established outlive their creators.